Welcome to Sculpture Studios, where today's project video is creating a stage prop for a band's 2019 Europe tour. We've created sculpture for bands like Iron Maiden, Status Quo and Pink Floyd in the past, but here today we have a little something special for someone new. The heavy metal rock band Dragonforce have reached out to have someone take this metallic dragon as part of their extreme power metal album cover and bring it into the third dimension. Naturally, polystyrene carving is right up our street and exactly what the project called for, and even though we only had a relatively short deadline for this, we said this was definitely something that we could create.
Here we are, just about to grid up for the large dragon head with Jessica. Yeah. This is what we're gridding up, and it's going to be about 2 meters tall, top to bottom, and it's to go on stage behind the drummer, we believe. And that's the concept image. We had to adapt it a bit just so it's not so wide and not so deep, so that it's more manageable on stage. So, yeah. So this is the preliminary work, just so we can get a rough profile of the front and the sides. So, see how it progresses from here.
Our client for this sculpture is Bex Lowe, an independent prop maker and an employee of Merlin. Now, I don't mean some sort of sorcerer's apprentice, that's Merlin Entertainment, and not the fabled wizard the company is no doubt named after, but on this occasion, we're solely working for Bex as one of her own privately commissioned projects. Bex is actually going to be tackling the fiberglass element of the job, we're going to be providing the polystyrene master carving, and Bex is going to be taking it from there. Later in the process, we'll invite the client down to the studio to take a look at the carving in person and to iron out any problems or areas that need changing. With the polystyrene carving, we need to do everything we can to ensure the fiberglass process can go as smooth as possible later. Our 8x4 by 2 foot billets of polystyrene have been hot wire cut down to size, and the detachable spike elements have been carved to be added when we get further into the process. Now, as well as client meetings, we do get random visitors to the studio from time to time, and here, acting like he's talking about something really in-depth, is Aidan's elder brother. Let's face it, we all know why he's here.
Alright, you'll be in the next video.
And just like that, John, you've made it onto the channel. Jess is now going round and marking out all the main curves and features on the dragon shape. It's important to keep referring back to the concept image so that we don't deviate too far from the band's design. Handheld hot wires are used to take off the bulk of the material, steadily working down to nail and wire brushes. We know that the majority of our viewers, and our subscribers especially, love a bit of the carving process. And those that say, yeah, why don't you just get this 3D cut or 3D printed, either haven't crafted something like this by hand before, or, even if they did, obviously didn't get the same joy out of it as we do. Not only does a computerized model of this dragon not exist in the first place, so you would need to have the time and the cost for someone to create that for you, but from our experience, you would also need about triple the time and triple the cost to have this 3D cut. Here we can keep everything in-house, in control, and in time and budget for the client. Carving for Aidan especially is one of the main reasons that he pursued being a sculptor as a chosen career. Now that the main shape has been blocked out, Aidan and Jess are comparing notes and going through any amendments that might need to be made.
So this is as far as I got with the carving, just getting the main blocky shape out. The only bits we ended up changing was this bit on the front of the nose, simply because we didn't draw it on here, and this is really rounded, whereas if you start looking at the actual drawings, he's got a bit more of a dome on his nose, so we've created a bit more of that from the side. We've also made his jaw wider here and here. That will need to come back to there, just so it looks a little bit more like that. It's quite rounded there, and also here it's much wider.
quarter to 11 o'clock of an evening. I've stayed on at work while everyone else goes home. It's nice and quiet, no radio, no telephone calls. Just to see if I can sort of block in this quickly and see if it's taking shape. Front view, see if there's some kind of symmetry happening here. Making sure the eyes are facing forward as if it's a predator, and trying to really get that strike look about it, rearing back and then trying to go forward. And also trying to keep this kind of mechanical sort of facets along here, as well as a bit of organic on the snake itself. And still trying to keep true to the images. That's it there. I believe they're going to try and make the eyes light up and some fire or some steam or something come out through there with a nice metallic finish. That's the whole idea of it anyway. And that's the rough concept. And then we're going to get loads of big spikes in here. But for the moment I'm going to leave all these spikes just out the way so we can get in and carve it and get the general form. So I think I'll work on till about 11:30, see if I can get ahead and see if there's any problems with it. But I think it's taking shape so far. Putting on the final spikes. Let's just go back a little bit, see what we've got. Looks a lot more interesting now with all the thorns on it. Yeah, I think there's some layers into the eyes and around the cheekbones up here, which is best done afterwards, because if Rebecca fixing on these details, this little bit here and down here and all across the cheekbones need to be done afterwards, I think. And also I think you need to cut the horns off and number them, do the rest of it and then stick the horns back on, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to do the whole job in one section. So a few more horns to go on the very top. Should look good, finish it off.
Go on Aidan, get in there. Here we are. All ready for collection for tomorrow?
Yeah. A few little bits here to trim off. That's just where we filled in all the small little holes. We made the whole of the snout come away so that she can get in and do the tongue and the interior of the mouth.
This works out to be beneficial both for Bex's fiberglassing needs to get inside, as well as for transportation, as it means she can save money on a smaller van as the snout comes off and just should fit snugly
inside a transit van.
Yeah. In Inviting the client to the studio, meeting for the first time, and having them see the work properly for the first time is always a beneficial step for us. Naturally, the project can be talked through far easier in person, but what's most important, apart